According to Davdut Pantanay, mythology is a subjective truth. Every culture imagines life a certain way. Good day, everyone. My name is Mervin Grace Estrella Arana, and I'll be discussing the creatures in mythology, Filipino version, highlighting the aswang, kapre, tikbalang, and duende. And now let's delve first to the aswang. The history of aswang was born out of Philippine folklore with stories of this terrifying creature dating back at least the 16th century. When Spanish explorers created the first written record of the monster, the explorers noted that of all the monsters in their folklore, the aswang was the most feared by native people. One of the most famous origins of the term aswang came from the aswang tradition in Bicol region during the 16th century. So, there's this story in the Bicol region that the Bicolanos believed in the god named Gugurang and Aswang, wherein the god Gugurang was a good one and that acted as the beneficent in their region. Gugurang was a provider, defender, a protector against the evil god named Aswang. Then Aswang, however, was the evil god and the rival who attempted to always cause harm to Gugurang and found pleasure in doing evil things. And with that, people in the Bicol, they shunned and cursed him. Now let's delve to the characteristics of aswang. The appearance of aswang varies depending on the region, but it is usually depicted as a shape-shifting monster that can take the form of different animals or humans. Like, have you ever heard that some people says nowadays that aswang, a person that or an animal that can turn into different, such as for example a person that is an aswang can turn into a cat or dog, usually animals like that. And then when it turns into a human, they can depicted as an old woman or a man, young or a kid, depending on the situation. Some common physical traits include sharp teeth, a long tongue, and glowing eyes. It is also said to have wings or the ability to fly, which makes it easier to capture its prey. Aswang is known for its supernatural abilities and behavior. It is said to have a keen sense of smell and hearing, which allows it to easily track down its prey. It also has a long tongue that it uses to suck the blood of its victims. Aswang is a nocturnal creature and is often associated with a full moon. It also believed to have the power of hypnotizing and can mesmerize its prey, making it easier to capture them. In terms of variation, there are many variations of aswang legend. Some regions believe that it is a malevolent spirit that brings bad luck, while others see it as a protector of the community. Some stories depict aswang as a beautiful woman who seduces men and then feeds on their flesh and blood. Others describe aswang as a shape-shifting creature that can transform into different animals or objects. And aswang in the Philippine culture has this belief in aswang is deeply ingrained in our culture. Many people, mostly in the rural areas, believe in the existence of aswang. As they believe in the existence of aswang, they have these precautions to protect themselves from the creature. This include placing the garlic and salt outside their homes or avoiding going out at night and keeping their children intact, especially during at night, since aswang are nocturnal rites. So most likely they will appear on the night, in the night. And with all of that, the legend of aswang has had a significant impact on Philippine culture and media. It has been the subject of many local movies and television shows and novels. Aswang has become a symbol of Philippine folklore and has helped to promote the country's cultural heritage. Now let's move forward to the tikbalang. In Philippine mythology, the tikbalang is a half human and half horse creature, and it's very similar to the centaur in Greek mythology. It is believed that a tikbalang would scare travelers or lead them astray. In order to break free from this, the creature would require the lost individual to torn his clothes inside out. This experience usually happens in rural and dark areas, especially after sunset. Tikbalang may have been originated from Hayagriva, an avatar of the Hindu god Vishnu, whose worship was first recorded in 2000 before Christ era. Before the Spanish arrived in the Philippines, there were no horses in the area, so the history of a horse-shaped creature was not possible. In the pre-colonial period, tikbalang were regarded as spirits of the forest and ghosts, and they were also referred to as multo and bibit. In some versions, it is a transformation of an aborted fetus sent to earth from limbo. When it comes to the characteristics of tikbalang, its physical appearance is contrary to the popular belief that the tikbalang is not a centaur. It can be described a being that is a reverse centaur, as the centaur has the body of a horse and the torso and the head of a man. The tikbalang, on the other hand, has the head of a horse and the body of a human. The tikbalang is tall and thin creature with a disproportionately long and large limbs to the point that its knees reach above its head when it squats down. It has a thick mane and a lighter color fur. Some accounts also claim that the eyes of tikbalang glow like embers, and there is some fairy glow associated with it when enraged. In terms of the family of the tikbalang, there is no specific origin of stories that are attributed to the tikbalang, since it is widely believed due to the introduction of horses in the Philippines by the Spanish and the stories that evolved due to that. It is also believed that the tikbalang reside in balete trees, also known as the banyan tree. This tree is somehow feared and associated with enchanted beings and paranormal activities. It is also believed that balete tree contains portals to other realms. According to traditional folklore, the tikbalang can also transform itself into a human form or turn invisible to humans. So, the humans maybe also cannot see them or not. In the Philippines, the tikbalangs are known to scare travelers by playing tricks on them, which will keep them returning to the different path, since the tikbalang will astray the lost individual. In addition, they are believed to be the guardians of elemental kingdoms and are seen guarding large trees. They say that the only way to be free of a tikbalang's control is to turn your shirt inside out. One of the tikbalang tricks is to transform its appearance into that of a close friend or relative who might have been in the area when it encountered them. This will make it appear as if it knows how to lead its victims to a place that's far from their destination. When the time comes, the tikbalang to reveal itself, the victim may experience the smell of tobacco before the face, and the body of their guide blurs as it changes from that of the victim's relative or friend into its own true monstrous forms. Those who have been unlucky enough to encounter a tikbalang are known to wander into villages or towns and talk incoherently. People who tried to help them will often tell their stories of how they were pushed, knocked to the ground, and hit repeatedly. All they could do was laugh as they were being tormented by the tikbalang, and when eventually they stopped resisting, they were left alone. In the modern day influence of the tikbalang, it is a popular character in Philippine movies, televisions, and novels. The stories of creatures are used to educate young children on the culture, mythology, traditions, and religion of the ancient Philippines. Moving on to another creature, the kapre. The term kapre comes from the Arabic word kafir, meaning a non-believer in Islam. The early Arabs and the Moors used it to refer to the non-Muslim Indians who were dark-skinned. The term kafir was also used for Papuan slaves brought to the Philippines by the Portuguese before slavery was abolished by Spain. The behavior of a kapre make contact with people to offer friendship, or it is attracted to a woman. If a kapre befriends any human, especially because of love, the kapre will consistently follow its love interest throughout life. Also, if one is a friend of the kapre, then that person has the ability to see, and if they were to sit on it, then any other person could see it. This proves kapres are the friendly type of humanoid. In some versions, the kapre is supposed to hold a magical white stone smaller in size than a quail egg. Should any person happen to obtain this stone, the kapre could grant wishes. When it comes to the appearance, the kapre is a filthy, gorilla-like giant humanoid characterized as a tree demon. It is described as being tall between 7 to 9 feet. It has a brown, hairy male with a beard. Kapres are normally described as smoking very large ganja pipe, whose strong smell would always attract human attention. But a kapres most least known, but probably most horrendous feature is the fact that it reeks of goat. The kapre is said to wear the indigenous northern Philippine loincloth known as bahag, and according to some, it wears a belt which gives the kapre the ability to be invisible to humans. Its habitat are said to dwell in big trees like the acacias, the mangoes, the bamboo, and the banyan, also known as the balete tree. It is also mostly seen sitting under those trees and smoking. This is such an example. Now the last one is the duende. Far less frightening but much more mischievous. In Filipino culture, these creatures are described as goblins, elves, or dwarfs, short of stature and often old or shriveled, with beards and hats of varying colors. The name duende comes from the Spanish duende, for owner of the house, but are also sometimes called nuno sa punso, Tagalog for old man of the mound. In modern times, they are said to reside in homes or mounds in forests or places with many trees. Whether they use their powers for good or mischief depends on how they are treated by the humans who dwell near them. The people say tabi-tabi po, nuno, which means pardon me, little people, in order to prevent their wrath. Duende have evolved into a less frightening incarnation over many years, but there are old tales of the duende who would steal children and eat their bowels, which places them firmly on the fearsome list. There are different types of duende. There are good and evil duendes. These invisible dwarfs seem to be represented by different colors depending on their character. Evil duende are red. If you have an evil red duende living in your house, it can be very bad. The best way to remove them is to perform a ritual that can be carried out by an albulario or healer or herbal doctors. Good duende are represented as white in color and can be useful to have around the place. They can protect the place that they live in. Now, I have gathered in my research the four types of colors, and let's discuss first the black duende. It brings luck to a person, family, or business. People believe that it is one of the most evil duende, but according to a friend, you can communicate with them, bring luck as well. Even if they are black duende, they are tidy looking, but be careful when dealing with them. And now, the red duende. This is the most evil duende. Never deal with them because they won't keep their promise. It is known to be very deceitful and untrustworthy. Never negotiate to this kind of duende. Even if they agree, they tend to not fulfill their promises. The white duende is quiet and calm, believed to be playful with young children. Try to be very calm when talking to them. They have the ability to heal a person who is under the spell of a sorcerer or a witch. The last one is the green duende. They are fun to young children. They bring luck to gamblers of any kind. But never trust them because sometimes they are naughty and crook. Unfriendly, if you want to speak to them, you have to patronize them. Sometimes you have to bring a child because they prefer to speak to the young ones rather than adults. No matter what kind of duende it is very important to be careful when dealing with these creatures and respect them. Otherwise, they will curse you and it might cause for your sudden illness or death. In conclusion, I wanted to share to all of you that these creatures, the aswang, kapre, tikbalang, and duwende, plays a vital role in our Filipino culture, and this contributes a big impact. That would be all. Thank you.